Hare Krishna. Let's begin our session with prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai Hare Krishna. So far we have come up to chapter number 11 and we're almost coming to the end of chapter number 11. So chapter 11 is the universal form, Vishwarupa Darshan. Shri Krishna Bhagavan Arjun के request से हमें करा रहे हैं. So till now we studied how Shri Krishna showed the universal form to Arjuna and how Arjuna went through various emotions. तो अब तक हमने देखा कैसे अर्जुन की एक दरख्वास्त से भगवान ने उनको अपना विश्व रूप का दर्शन कराया और विश्व रूप दर्शन करते हुए अर्जुन के क्या क्या हालात के बदलाव हो गए, तो उनकी मनोस्थिति कैसे बदलता गया. तो पहले वो आश्चर्यचकित थे, फिर वो भयभीत हो गए, फिर वो आश्चर्यचकित और भय दोनों का सम्मिलन हो गया उनके हृदय में. तो तत्पश्चात अर्जुन ने कृष्ण को बताया, आपके सौम्य वपु, आपके निज रूप का दर्शन मुझे कराइए. प्लीज मेक मी अगेन एनविजन योर ब्यूटिफुल फॉर्म of the four-handed Narayana and your eternal form as Dvibhuja Shama Sundara. तो अर्जुन ने भगवान को ये बताया कि आप कृपा करके आपके चतुर्भुज विष्णु रूप का दिव्य दर्शन मुझे कराइए और फिर से आप मुझे आपका शाश्वत द्विभुज श्याम सुंदर का रूप का दर्शन कराइए. So in the last sloka 51, we'll just recap what we learned in the last sloka that we left almost two weeks or more than that, 1 month ago. So Arjuna is telling, Drushtvegam Manusham Rupam. Please show me that human-like form of yours, the two-handed form of yours. Tavasaumyam Janardana, that beautiful form of yours, that pleasant form of yours, Janardana. हे जनार्दन, आपका वो सौम्य रूप का मुझे दर्शन कराइए. इदानीम अस्मि संवृत्ता सचेता प्रकृतिम गतः. So my mind is now pacified and I am restored to my original nature. तो भगवान के चतुर्भुज रूप का दर्शन और द्विभुज रूप का दर्शन करने के बाद अर्जुन क्या बोल रहे हैं, अब मेरा मन स्थिति शांत हो गया. अब मैं आपका ये सुंदर रूप देके मैं अपने असली स्वभाव में आ गया हूं. So in the purport Prabhupada says, here the words Manusham Rupam clearly indicate the supreme personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna Krishna. To be originally two-handed. तो इससे हमें क्या पता चल रहा है कि भगवान श्री कृष्ण का असली स्वरूप, भगवान का असली स्वरूप क्या है, श्री कृष्ण का रूप, द्विभुज श्याम सुंदरा का रूप, मुरलीधर का रूप. तो आगे बता रहे हैं, those who deride Krishna to be an ordinary person are shown here to be ignorant of his divine nature. और जो भी भगवान श्री कृष्णा को एक साधारण व्यक्ति समझते हैं, तो उनको प्रभुपाद जी और कृष्णा स्वयं एक और श्लोक में बताते हैं मूढ़ आत्मा है. आगे बोलते हैं प्रभुपाद, if Krishna is like an ordinary human being, then how is it possible for him to show universal form and again show the four-handed Narayana form? अगर श्री कृष्ण साधारण व्यक्ति है तो विश्व रूप का दर्शन कैसे करा सकते हैं और उस तत्पश्चात नारायण का रूप का दर्शन अर्जुन को कैसे करा सकते हैं? So there is a law called Murphy's law. When things have to go wrong, they will go wrong. So especially when the classes go on, the power cuts, the internet disturbances, this become more. So we'll have to tide through this. We will have to tolerate this. So in case the Wi-Fi goes off sometime, please keep logged in. Whenever the Wi-Fi comes, I will join back. I have of late have been saying this very often because of the power situation due to summer in Vrindavan. Doesn't matter as long as we are able to somehow finish our 40 minutes of discussion. So it's very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that one who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person misguides the reader by claiming that it is the impersonal Brahman within Krishna speaking. A very great politician of this country who had a very high position has said previously that it is not to Krishna that we have to surrender. It is to the inner Paramatma in Krishna that we have to surrender. So Krishna himself is telling, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. He is telling surrender to me. He is not telling surrender to that Paramatma inside me. But some unscrupulous politicians, for their vested interests and by their ignorance, अपने मूढ़ स्थिति की वजह से कुछ लोग जो ऊंचे पद में हैं वो बोलते हैं कृष्ण को शरणागत होने की जरूरत नहीं है, जो कृष्ण के अंदर परमात्मा है उसके शरण में हमें जाना चाहिए. So we have to be intelligent. Am I going to go and listen what is the purport of what Krishna is telling from an ordinary soul who is a politician, or I am going to take the words of the Lord? क्या मैं एक साधारण व्यक्ति का भावार्थ में अपना भगवत गीता को समझूंगा या मैं कृष्ण के पदों से मैं भगवत गीता को समझूंगा और मुझे समझ में नहीं आया क्या मैं एक आध्यात्मिक गुरु के भावार्थ से मैं समझूंगा. श्रीला प्रभुपाद is a pure devotee. So there is no need for us to doubt even a little bit on what he's trying to convey. तो श्रीला प्रभुपाद एक शुद्ध भक्त है, तो वो जो बोल रहे हैं स्वयं श्री कृष्णा वही बोल रहे हैं. So further is telling is doing greatest injustice. ऐसे व्यक्ति जो ऊंचे पद में बैठ के ऐसे बात करते हैं, साधारण व्यक्ति को वो रास्ता भटकाते हैं, वो उनके लिए अन्याय कर रहे हैं. They are doing injustice to these kind of people, the common people. So we must be very careful whom we surrender to. हम किसके शरण में जाएंगे तो इसके बारे में हमें बहुत ही जागरूक होना चाहिए. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita whom we must surrender to. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te gnanam gnanina tattvadarshina. तत्वदर्शी ज्ञानी इनके शरण में हमें जाना चाहिए, शुद्ध भक्त के हमें शरण में जाना चाहिए, ना बल्कि पॉपुलर राजकारणी, not surrendering to the popular materialistic people. So a pure devotee is not confused by misguiding commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. So somebody might ask, तो ये तो उनकी गलती नहीं है, तो वो रास्ता वो भटका रहे तो उनके पीछे वो चले गए. रास्ता क्यों भटके? क्योंकि उनको मालूम नहीं है किसके शरण में जाना चाहिए. This much of homework they should do. So all of us must be able to do this kind of a spiritual homework, and we must know whom to place our confidence in. अगर मैं गलत दुकान में जाके सोना खरीदूंगा तो जाहिर है मैं धोखे में आ जाऊंगा. So it is definite that if I go to the wrong shop and buy gold, then I will always be cheated. So at least I must do the homework of knowing which is the genuine jewelry gold shop. इतना तो मुझे होमवर्क करना चाहिए और जानना चाहिए कि एक शुद्ध सोनार का दुकान कौन सा है. So that responsibility lies on us. So Krishna is also telling tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You must go in search of this kind of a spiritual master by taking injunctions from Shastra. Shastra chakshu. तो शास्त्र के अनुसार, शास्त्र के मार्गदर्शन से हमें गुरु को ढूंढना चाहिए और गुरु के मार्गदर्शन से हमें शास्त्र को समझना चाहिए. So it is like a one thing leads to another good thing. One good thing leads to another good thing. So it's a positive cycle. So if I go and approach the right person, he will help me understand the Vedic scriptures. When I understand the Vedic scriptures, then I will always remain surrendered to the right person. So further, it is said here, the original verses of Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. This we concluded in the last class. भगवद गीता के श्लोक भगवान ने बहुत साफ साफ बोल चुके हैं. It's very clear. It is as clear as the sun. सूर्य के प्रकाश से जब हमें सब कुछ दिखता है, इतना क्लियर है. But they do not require lamp light from foolish commentators. सूर्य को देखने के लिए टॉर्च की जरूरत नहीं है. सूर्य स्वयं प्रकाशित है और सूर्य के अपने प्रकाश से सूर्य को हम देख सकते हैं. ठीक वैसे ही भगवद गीता स्वयं प्रकाशित है. भगवान श्री कृष्ण के श्री मुख से भगवद गीता निकला है. तो उसका व्याख्यान हमें कोई अभक्त से, नास्तिक से या इन्फ्लुएंशियल मेटलिस्टिक पर्सन, we must not listen to their commentaries. We must not even listen to the commentaries of so-called devotees, Mayavadis. In fact, it is more dangerous to hear from Mayavadis, because in the name of spirituality, they will bring our spiritual life to a doom. It is going to be doomed. So Mayavadi Bhashya Sunile Hai Sarvanash. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already told, we must be very careful where we place our faith in. So now that this universal form now has been shown to Arjuna, and then following that, now that the 400 form of Vishnu has been shown to Arjuna, and after that, now the 200 form of Krishna, the original form of the Lord, is shown to Arjuna. After Arjuna's description, what does the Lord say? So we'll require at least 3 classes to finish the next 4 slokas, because they all have big purpose. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sudurdharsham idam rupam drashtavanasi yan mama deva api asya rupasya nityam darshana kankshinaha. So what does Prabhupada say in his purport? So Prabhupada is telling here, first of all, Arjuna is acknowledging and Prabhupada is acknowledging that Krishna is the original Guru, Jagat Guru. And here the Lord is telling, Lord is describing his Krishna form, his original form as Krishna as Sudurdarsham. Darsham, what can be seen? Durdarsham, very rare. Sudurdarsham, very rare for a right reason. So, my dear Arjuna, hey mere priya Arjun, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Sudurdarsham idam rupam drushtavan asi yan mama. It is not very easy. It is not only a fortunate person can get to see the form of the Lord in his original form as Krishna. That's why he's calling it Sudurdarsham. Then, even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. Deva api asya rupasya. तो देवता भी इस रूप को देखने के लिए तरस रहे हैं. नित्यम दर्शन कांक्षिणः. एक बार 2 बार नहीं, हमेशा यही स्वरूप मेरा देखने की आकांक्षा रखते हैं. So, which is so dear. तो देवता के लिए भी ये प्रिय है. So you see, the universal form which is bringing about Romaharshana and Bhaya. Compare it to the Saumya Vapu of Lord Shri Krishna, where the form is so pleasing and it's very dear to the devotee. And only a devotee can see this form of the Lord. The Lord can also manifest this to non-devotees, but they will never recognize him as the Supreme Lord, like what happened during the Dwapara Yuga. Many Nastikvadis, many atheists would also see the form of the Lord, but they were unfortunate because they could not recognize who the Lord is. That is because they didn't have two qualifications. They were not the friend of the Lord, they were not devotees of the Lord. Bhaktosi me sakacheti. So a devotee is both the friend of the Lord and he is also surrendered to the Lord. And Arjuna has already taken that position in the second chapter itself. From a friend, he then came to the platform of accepting Krishna as his Guru. So a long purport, we will read this. In the 48th verse of this chapter, Lord Krishna concluded revealing his universal form and informed Arjuna that this form is not possible to be seen by so many activities, sacrifices, etc. Even the universal form, which is actually a material form of the Lord, that also cannot be very easily seen. It is not an everyday phenomenon that people can see this form. Now here the word Sudur Darsham is used, indicating that Krishna's two-handed form is still more confidential. So for the universal form, Lord said, very rare form. Not many people have seen this. In fact, you are the first person to see this, is what Krishna tells Arjuna. And then Prabhupada and Krishna is now telling Sudur Darsham. It is even more rare to see me in my original form, this beautiful form of mine. One may be able to see the universal form of Krishna by adding a little tinge of devotional service to various activities like penance, Vedic study, philosophical speculation. लेकिन अगर मिश्र भक्ति भी कोई करेगा, ज्ञान मिश्रित भक्ति, कर्म मिश्रित भक्ति, ध्यान मिश्रित भक्ति, कोई भी वो प्रोसेस फॉलो कर रहा है और उसमें भक्ति का मिश्रण हो जाएगा, then he has a good chance of seeing the Lord. So भगवान श्री कृष्णा का दर्शन करने के लिए उनके लिए एक सुनहरा अवसर मिल सकता है. Even if somebody is having a little tinge of bhakti, what to say of pure devotees? Pure devotees, santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. संत हमेशा हर वक्त अपने ही हृदय में भगवान का दर्शन पाते हैं. So the Lord's darshan, the saints always and at all times have it within their hearts. So they don't have to struggle to see his form. It may be possible, but without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot see. तो भक्ति के थोड़ा भी मिश्रण के अलावा मतलब without the mixture of bhakti, Lord cannot be visualized. So it is more difficult to see even for demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, the 200 form. कृष्णा का ये जो निज स्वरूप है वो बड़े बड़े देवता ब्रह्मा और शिव को भी सुदुर्दर्शन, सुदुर्लभ है. The desire to see him, and we have evidences in Srimad Bhagavatam that when he was supposed to be in the womb of his mother Devaki, all demigods from heaven came to see the marvel of Krishna. जब वो कृष्ण कथा सुनते हैं in the very first and second chapter, the advent of Krishna and prayers of demigods, we come to know that while still in the womb, the devotees, the devatas would come and offer their prayers to the Lord who was within the womb of Devaki. So देवकी के उदर में जब थे उस समय में भी देवता आते थे कारागृह में और भगवान की स्तुति करते थे. So they even waited to see him. A foolish person may deride him, but that is an ordinary person. Krishna is actually desired to be seen by demigods like Brahma and Shiva in his two-armed form. उनको रोज देखने को नहीं मिलेगा. चतुर्भुज नारायण का रूप वैकुंठ लोक में उनका दर्शन वो पा सकते हैं हर सुबह, जैसे कि भक्त करते हैं. ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में देवता भी उठते हैं उनके दिन में और नहाने के बाद दौड़ते हैं वैकुंठ लोक, और वहां पे भागा दौड़ी होता है, और देर इज क्राउड देयर एंड देर ऑल ट्राइंग टू एंटर वैकुंठ लोका, एंड जया एंड विजया आर बीटिंग देम विथ केन। फिर भी भगवान का दर्शन करने के लिए वो उसी भीड़ में आगे बढ़ रहे सारे देवता। वैकुंठ लोक में 7 द्वार पार करके भगवान के दर्शन पाने के लिए वो अपने सर पे जय और विजय का लाठी खा के भी आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। ये सीन है वैकुंठ लोक का हर देवता के सुबह में। दे आर लाइक अस, दे नो वी आर लाइक देम। We get up in the morning, we take bath and then we go to the temple to have darshan of the Lord, मंगल आरती। ठीक वैसे ही उनका मंगल आरती क्या होता है, क्या स्तुति करते हैं, पुरुष सूक्ता। They chant the Purusha Sukta and glorify the Lord in Vaikuntha Loka, and then they go about doing their business like the devotees after मंगल आरती, after their chanting स्तुति करने के बाद वो अपने अपने कार्य करने के लिए, हरे कृष्ण मूवमेंट के कार्य आगे बढ़ाने के लिए वो निकलते हैं। ठीक वैसे ही देवता अपने कार्य में चले जाते हैं। So further we will read. Very interestingly, Krishna's body as confirmed by Brahma Samhita and confirmed by himself in Bhagavad Gita is completely spiritual, full of bliss and eternality. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. So what are the 4 things we are learning here? Krishna has a form, निराकार नहीं है, भगवान का रूप है, और कैसा रूप है वो उसका भी वर्णन है। सत, truth, eternal, चित, full of knowledge, आनंदमय, आनंदमय अभ्यासात। एक जीव भी आनंद को खोजता है, क्यों? क्योंकि वो उसका अभ्यास है, क्योंकि वो भगवान का अंश है, और आनंदमय अभ्यासात भगवान का निज स्वरूप है। सच्चित आनंद विग्रह उसका एक रूप है। So that's why as souls we are all searching for happiness. Every one of us is searching for happiness. Happiness has eluded us because we have got deluded and come into this material world. क्योंकि हम अज्ञानता के वजह से इस भौतिक जगत में आ चुके हैं, भगवान को भूल के। कृष्ण भूलिया जीवा भोग वांछा करे, पाशाते माया झपटिया दरे। कृष्ण को भूलने की वजह से माया ने हमें तुरंत पकड़ लिया है और भौतिक जगत में ट्रांसफर कर लिया है। So she has transferred us to this material world because we happen to forget Krishna and we wanted to enjoy on our own. So further, his body is never like a material body. भगवान श्री कृष्ण का भौतिक देह नहीं, आध्यात्मिक देह है। So there is no difference between himself and his body, the soul, body. There is no difference. Whereas in our case, मैं आत्मा हूं, मेरा देह है, लेकिन कृष्ण के बारे में ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते। कृष्ण आत्मा भी है, परमात्मा है वो तो, और उनका देह भी एक ही स्वरूप का है। Further, so ultimately they think that the absolute truth is impersonal. मायावादी जो भटकाना चाहते हैं वो नास्तिक वादियों से भी अधिक dangerous है। They're more dangerous than even the atheists. Therefore, they think that from his impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature. तो उनका कहना है कि भगवान निराकार है, लेकिन लीला करने के लिए आकार लेके आते हैं। लेकिन भक्तों का ये समझना है, so the understanding from the Vedas, from the Lord himself is he has a form, and he also has got a impersonal feature. Like the bulb has got a form, but the light is impersonal. Similarly, the Lord has got a personal form, and the transcendental brilliance that emanates from his body, the Brahma Jyoti, is impersonal. We cannot say that from the light the bulb came. The bulb is giving the light. Similarly, Krishna के ब्रह्म ज्योति से कृष्णा नहीं आए, कृष्णा से कृष्णा का ब्रह्म ज्योति आ रहा है। And the planets and all the universes are floating in this Brahma Jyoti. They're existing in this Brahma Jyoti. Those who are in search of knowledge also speculate on Krishna and consider him to be less important than the universal form of the Supreme. तो कुछ लोग और हैं जो अल्प ज्ञान रखते हैं, वो बोलते हैं कृष्णा का स्वरूप इतना महत्व नहीं है, कृष्णा के जो जो परमात्मा स्वरूप है वो ज्यादा महत्वकारी है. So this is the Paramatma feature is higher than the personal feature of the Lord, which is due to only ignorance. The transcendental process is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, to hear about Krishna from authorities. So if I have to become qualified to be able to see the form of the Lord, तो अगर मुझे क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए भगवान का दर्शन करने के लिए, तो हमें मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? टू हियर अबाउट कृष्णा फ्रॉम अथॉरिटीज. श्रवणम, नवविध भक्ति में पहला और प्रमुख प्रोसेस क्या है? श्रवणम. टू हियर व्हाट? उत्तम श्लोक गुणानुवर्णने. तो उत्तम श्लोक भगवान श्री कृष्ण का गुण का वर्णन सुनना. टू हियर अबाउट द ट्रांसेंडेंटल activities of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, and the form of the Lord. To hear anything about the Lord is the only qualification required, is a process that will make us qualified to be able to understand the Lord and one day see Him. So, by repeated hearing about Him, Krishna becomes dear. So, how do we become dear to the Lord? So here Krishna is telling, dear Arjuna. How did Arjuna become dear to the Lord? Arjuna was always a friend. Now he is more dear to him because he is giving a patient hearing to the Lord. श्रवण कर रहे हैं, भगवद गीता का श्रवण कर रहे हैं. So by following Arjuna, by hearing to the activities of the Lord, by hearing to the Lord, that is Bhagavad Gita, by hearing about the Lord, Bhagavatam, we will become dear to the Lord. तो बहुत ही सरल उपाय है. भगवान का प्रिय कैसे बनेंगे? हम भगवान की महिमा, गुणगान, कथा श्रवण करने से उनके प्रिय बन सकते हैं. So further, Krishna is covered by his yoga maya potency. He is not to be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Why is he not seen to anyone and everyone? क्योंकि माया अपना प्रक्षेपात्मिका शक्ति से जीव को कृष्ण से दूर लेके गई है और आवरणात्मिका शक्ति से कृष्ण का दर्शन को ढक दिया है. She is covered the form of Krishna from our vision. She is not covering Krishna, she is covering our vision. जब बादल होता है तो सूर्य नहीं दिखता है. तो it is not that the cloud is so powerful that or so big that it can cover the sun, but we are in such a position that even a small cloud can cover the sun, which is many million times bigger than the earth we are standing on. So that is dependent on where we stand. Further away from sun we are, even with small amount of blockade, we will not be able to see the sun. Similarly, since we are so away from the Lord, literally, and also in spiritual terms, by little bit of curtain of Maya, Maya Javani Kachannam, Agnadokshajam Avyayam. So, the Lord who cannot be seen and the Lord who is indestructible, he is covered by the curtain of Maya. And the curtain of Maya is covering our eyes and not the Lord. The curtain of Maya is not so powerful that she can go and cover Krishna. Maya but has got the power to cover our vision. So that is how we are not able to see Krishna. And how does this curtain get removed from our eyes? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Rose Hare Krishna mantra japa karne se, the minimum number of rounds Prabhupada has given for his followers is 16 rounds, minimum rounds. So if daily we can chant 16 rounds the earliest in the day, the rest of the day Maya will not attack us. The more we take time in the day, रात तक हम चैंटिंग कर रहे, तब तक माया का प्रवेश है, तो फिर सो जाएंगे, फिर क्या शायद दर्शन देंगे आपके स्वप्न में. So intelligent person will finish the first thing in morning, first things first. Chant Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds. So प्रभु जी मैं तो बिजी हूँ, मुझे उधर जाना है, इधर जाना है, बच्चे हैं, फैमिली है, काम है, काज है, ये है, वो है. You're intelligent. You need 2 hours to chant Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds. Get 2 hours. Get up 2 hours early. That's a simple solution. Finish this most important activity in Kali Yuga, most important activity of bhakti in Kali Yuga, the first thing in the morning. There is no excuse for not doing it. Despite Prabhupada repeatedly telling this, if we give our own reasons and then through the day we are chanting, that's also good. It's better than not chanting. But the best thing we can do to ourselves is to chant Hare Krishna mantra early in the morning, finish our 16 round before we start anything. So working backwards, what does it require? I must sleep early, by which I can get up early and finish my rounds. Further, so the transcendentalists per continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna can have spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि ना भवे ग्राह्यम इंद्रिय. इंद्रियों के माध्यम से कितना भी कोशिश कर लीजिए, try anyhow you want with all the senses, we will not be able to understand Krishna. How will we understand Krishna? सेवन मुखे ही जीवादो स्वयं एव स्फुरत्यदा. By using our tongue in devotional service. The simplest way of devotional service is by using our tongue in devotional service. Tara madhya jivati lobomai sudurmati. This jiva, tongue, is very greedy and it is a mad sense. It will make us say and do and act in a wrong way. But by engaging this tongue, इस जीभ को जब भगवान की भक्ति में हम उपयोग करेंगे, कैसे उपयोग करेंगे? तो जीभ का 2 कार्य है, बोलना, खाना. तो कृष्ण प्रसाद खाओ और भगवान श्री कृष्ण का गुण गाओ. तो से अन्नामृता पाओ, राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ. यूज द टंग टू ईट कृष्ण प्रसादम ओनली and only glorify the Lord. Radha Krishna guna gao. What will happen? Preme Dhako, Chaitanya Nitai. The Chaitanya and Nitai will bestow upon you love of Godhead. Simply by the act of this simple form of devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna mantra and eating only Krishna Prasadam by using the tongue devotionally. So tongue is a very powerful spiritual organ we have got. It can be spiritualized by simply turning it in the service of the Lord. So advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. तो देवता, भगवान खुद बोल रहे हैं, देवता भी इस रूप देखने के लिए तरस जाते हैं. ये रूप आप देख रहे हो, तो उनका रूप हम भी देख रहे हैं. भगवान का रूप हम कहाँ देख रहे हैं? तो मेरे पीछे भगवान का रूप है. So this is also the form of the Lord. His picture is also the Lord. When you go to the temple, जब आप मंदिर जाएंगे और उनका मूर्ति का दर्शन करेंगे, वो मूर्ति नहीं है, वो स्वयं राधा वृंदावन चंद्र है, स्वयं राधा कृष्णा है. So with this understanding, if we go and see the Lord, and we are benefited. So Krishna is now further continuing. We will also try to do this sloka number 53. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Naham vedairna tapasa nadanena nachajaya shakya evam vido drashtam drashtavan asimam yata nadanena cha ijjaya. So Krishna is telling, this form that you are seeing, Arjuna. So Krishna is telling, let's read this. The form which you are seeing with your transcendental eyes, भगवान ने दिव्य चक्षु दिया है, तो इसलिए अर्जुन इस वक्त भगवान के कृष्ण को भगवान की तरह देख रहा है. वरना वो he was living in a familiarity kind of a environment. He took Krishna for granted. He was very friendly with him. But now because he has got the Divya Chakshu, transcendental eyes, by the Lord's mercy. How did he get the transcendental eyes? By the Lord's mercy. That cannot be got by what? Cannot be understood simply by studying Vedas. वेद अध्ययन करने से ज्ञान चक्षु नहीं मिलेगा, ये जो दिव्य चक्षु नहीं मिलेगा। फिर नॉर बाय अंडरगोइंग सीवियर पेनेंसेस, सीरियस पेनेंसेस, कठोर तपस्या करने के बाद भी दिव्य चक्षु नहीं मिलेगा, भगवान को देखने का दृष्टि नहीं मिलेगा। नॉर बाय चैरिटी, दान करने से, नॉर बाय वर्शिप, मंडेन वर्शिप, रिचुअलिस्टिक वर्शिप, उससे भी भगवान का दर्शन नहीं होगा। It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. शक्य एवं विदो द्रष्टुम दृष्टवान असि माम यथा। तो इन सारे विधानों से, दान, यज्ञ, तप, ध्यान और कोई मार्ग जहां पे भक्ति नहीं है, कोई भी मार्ग से भगवान का दर्शन हमें नहीं मिलेगा। We will not be able to understand the Lord or see him. How can we see the Lord? We already learned, Krishna himself has told, Bhakto si me, by the devotee. And devotee is always also his friend, Sakha cheti. This qualification only we can see the Lord, we can understand the Lord, we can engage in his bhakti. So Prabhu, then how we are all engaged in bhakti? We are not having this divya chakshu. We do not have divya chakshu. हमारे पास दिव्य चक्षु नहीं है, लेकिन हम उस व्यक्ति के शरण में हैं, उस गुरु के शरण में हैं जो दिव्य दृष्टि रखता है। So if I don't have the torch, if I follow somebody who has got the torch, then my path is also visible. So this is intelligence. मेरे पास टॉर्च नहीं है, मेरे पास दिव्य चक्षु नहीं है, लेकिन जिस व्यक्ति के पास दिव्य चक्षु है, उसके शरण में मैं जाके उसके पीछे में जाऊंगा, उसके इंस्ट्रक्शंस में फॉलो करूंगा, तो मुझे भी रास्ता बहुत ही क्लियरली दिखने लगेगा. So I'll also be able to see the road very clearly. This is intelligence. Krishna first appeared before his parents Devaki and Vasudeva in a four-handed form. पहले चतुर्भुज के रूप में आए कारागृह में, and then he transformed himself into two-handed form, which is a higher form. श्याम सुंदर के फॉर्म में आए, द्विभुज मुरलीधर के रूप में आए, कृष्णा के रूप में आए. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists. तो ये नास्तिक समझ ही नहीं पाएंगे, ये कैसे हो सकता है. तो सिर्फ इसलिए वो बोलते हैं ये सब कथा है. This is all superstition. Because they cannot understand, they dismiss it. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of speculation or out of mere academic interest, Krishna is not easy to understand. और वेद अध्ययन करने से, दान तप करने से कृष्ण को समझना नामुमकिन नहीं है, लेकिन बहुत मुश्किल है. Not easy to be understood by persons who officially go to a temple to offer worship. Routinely जा रहे temple, सब लोग जा रहे हैं, मैं भी जा रहा हूँ. It is good, but it will take a longer time for him to understand the Lord. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. भगवान को देखते हैं, आते हैं, क्या देखा कुछ नहीं पता. So Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself. और अगले वर्ष में जो हम tomorrow which we will discuss, Krishna is going to describe how he can be seen by the act of devotional service. Bhakti is the only way to make this human life successful, and the easiest way of undergoing this process of bhakti in Kali Yuga is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you very much for joining me today. We will meet again tomorrow at the same time and continue on more shloka. Again, it's a long purport, will require an entire class for it. Followed by the last class, which is the 55th shloka, which will be the Monday after that. Thank you very much. We already announced Srila Prabhupada Ashraya to you all. So please